This transition towns concept is one that is exciting to me because it's an action, it's a doing. It's not a noun, it's not a fixed thing, it's not something out there in the future. It's actually a transition town is simply, in my understanding of it, and I'll ask Richard to clarify his understanding more because he's had more exposure to this. But simply where people have come together, they've acknowledged that peak oil and climate change are real issues, that they're going to impact us more. They're impacting us now, but they're going to impact us more, and probably in perhaps an exponential way, that the challenges will become greater and greater very quickly. But a transition town is simply acknowledging all of that and saying, okay, now we're in transition. What that means, what the answers are, we don't know yet, and that's fine, and that's absolutely acceptable, and that's part of the process. We don't have to have the answers. The answers are actually something from the past. The questions which you've got are the things that point to the future. So what we're going to do is I'll get Richard to speak a little about his experience with transition towns, maybe 5 or 10 minutes if that works, and then I have a video clip of Rob Hopkins speaking to the International Forum on Globalization, and he's addressing it through a direct speaking to a video camera, because he didn't go to the event, and he'll explain why that is, but it's obvious enough. And then hopefully from that'll give you something of a sense of what the Transition Towns concept is about. And then after that, we'll gather together some questions from everybody. So what I'm hoping is that there's two main things that I'd like to get out of this. One is that it answers some of your key questions about what is a transition town. And there could be things like, how do you start it, and how is it defined, and what are the issues, and who's actually doing it already? What are the initiatives that are already happening in the country? And that was something which was very exciting for me in preparing for this, which was a very spontaneous response to Brian's invitation to come down and facilitate this. I was able to speak with Mark Skelding in Thames, who's been very active, and there's things moving there. Jo Duff, Jo, where are you? Jo in the audience here. She's just done a presentation which some people put together on a video, on a DVD, and have you got some of those available?
I might have.
You might? Okay. Fantastic presentation. Jo is just a beautiful, humble woman with a passion, because she understands what's happening, and she wants to get out and inform people and give people an opportunity to participate in this process of initiating transition towns and all of that means. I also spoke with Dougal McTavish down in Hampton, which is in Otago, and he's actually probably one of the earlier ones to get this process rolling. And one of the things that occurred in having those conversations with people was that I found that there was a lot that I could serve just in the process of having conversations, because the information wasn't really necessarily being shared well. So what I'm hoping is that one of the next things that we're going to do is get you to introduce yourselves to the people in your row and describe a little bit about what you think a transition town is. What does it mean to you? What do those words mean, and what images does that create? And also what I want you to do is to write down your name and your email address and a phone number, so that out of this we actually gather a list of people who have an interest in this, and then I can serve that process of keeping people informed about what's happening. So that's the other main thing that I want to get out of this, is to connect people to this process, which is just starting, which is new, which is exciting and interesting, and there's lots of room for everybody to get involved. We don't need to know all the answers before we begin. It's really good to know what other people are doing, but we don't have to do everything ourselves. We can find those things that we're interested in and really do them well, and do them as service to our communities, and then know that other people are doing other things, and that we're receiving their service. So, what else? So a transition town it's a guiding framework. It's not something rigid. It's a concept which has been really well set out. And what I've got about 10 DVDs here. I'll be able to mail out more to people who don't get them. But it's a collection of documents, PowerPoint presentations, and video clips on a CD, which hopefully a few people can take away and then copy and share. And that they give a guiding framework to this process, which then we invent and create for ourselves. I think that's about it from me. That's by way of an introduction. So I'd like Richard to come and tell a little bit about his experience and his understanding of transition towns, to flesh that out a little bit more, and then we'll see a video from Rob Hopkins.
Yeah. Are they going to do the connecting with some of the doors first or after?
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. Let's take 5 minutes max to introduce yourselves to each other, to the people in your row, and if you could please. If you have one piece, if somebody in the row has a piece of paper, if you don't, let us know, we've got some more here. And just gather the email addresses, names, and phone numbers. Often the email addresses don't get written down absolutely clearly, and if they bounce back to me, then I'll at least be able to phone up and find out what that is. So yeah, take a few minutes and introduce yourselves. Thank you. Thank you, Richard. There's going to be lots more opportunity for discussion. So if you could wrap that part up, that would be great. So what's going to happen, we'll have, Richard's going to present to us now. So Richard's going to present for a few minutes, and then we will gather your questions on the board here, and then we'll split into some groups to have some discussion focused around those questions. So that's actually going to be about a 45-minute session, and then we'll come back from that to report back from the different groups, and after that we'll have a bit of open forum for questions for Richard. So yeah, hopefully there'll be lots of opportunity to get your questions answered, we hope.
Okay, thanks, James. Great to see so many folks turn out for this. To me, the transition towns are one of the most exciting phenomena I see going on worldwide. And of course, when the term transition towns is uttered, it immediately raises a big question mark. Transition from